live from MomoCon on Sunday.
Yes. It's day 3 of MomoCon. A lot of walking, a lot of heat.
Yes.
A lot of people in costume.
Yep. You had to stay hydrated.
Yes.
It's Atlanta.
Yes.
I had to do a whole survival video today.
Yes.
Which you guys will see.
Yep.
I did a whole survival video like Survivor Man, you know, trying to find sustenance and water. Like a survival video.
You have to learn the ways of the MomoCon.
That's right.
Yeah.
My friends call me Big Hoss, and so I just kind of go by that. And or I could be like Shaq and have like 10 different nicknames, right? So I could be the Nerdinator. I could be
like
AKA Geek Life, AKA the Geek Man. I could be all that. But a lot of people call me Big Hoss. I've had that name since I was a kid. So.
And I'm going by the moniker of right on my shirt, actually, Silicon Dark.
But we're both comic book fans.
Yes.
Like I said, back in the day, I was a big Marvel fan.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Superman fan.
Yeah.
I used to watch the television show in black and white
when
they did that.
George Reed.
Yeah. So watch the black and white television show. If you haven't seen that, I'm sure it's somewhere on the net. Find it. They are actually pretty neat.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Batman back in the day, television show and all the movies.
Burt Ward and what's his name? He's the voice of like almost every little Cartoon Network thing right now.
Right.
But yeah, that was a classic Batman.
Yep.
You know they actually made a comic out of that Batman called like 60s Batman?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So like they take it as if the show had still gone on. Still drawn the same way like they looked in the old TV show. Barbara Gordon and all that kind of stuff.
That's great.
Yeah. It's awesome.
That's great.
It's awesome.
But you're also big Trekkie.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. I was kind of like, I don't want to say I was raised on Trek, but it was one of the few shows that my dad, we'd watch together. Like he liked watching music. He loves Soul Train.
Okay,
you know?
okay,
so
yeah.
This is definitely like a black sci-fi cultural mix going on here.
I think we all like Soul Train. And the Soul Train line.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Now I know why Dad was as interested in Soul Train. But yeah, he loved Star Trek for some reason. We always watched the reruns of Star Trek. To the point where I've pretty much seen every episode as a kid. Right. And kind of like, in a different way, Star Trek also inspired me. You know, it was kind of like more methodical, but with action and, you know, where, you know, so that kind of like another pillar in the sci-fi geek foundation. Again, also I like comics as well, Marvel, DC. You know, I used to steal money from, not steal, okay. I borrowed money from my
I'm gonna tell your mama.
Purse.
I'm gonna tell your mama.
But back then, comics were only 35 cents, you know?
You know an interesting story about stealing comics?
Yeah.
So, in my neighborhood I used to grow up in, the corner store was not very far away. Yeah. So, as an 8-year-old kid, I used to go to the store in the summertime for my grandmother, right?
Yeah.
She'd give me money, I go to the store, pick up the items, and bring them back. Now, the lady at the grocery store, the corner store, she knew me, she knew my family. I go in there every day.
Right.
Well, I was reading a comic book. I was reading it, I got caught up in the comic book I was reading, and I gave the lady the money, and I'm still reading it. She gives me back the change. I'm still reading it, and I walk out the door with my items for the grandmother, my grandmother, including the comic book, which I did not pay for. I get all the way home, and I hand my grandmother the change. I hand her the item that she wanted, and then she tells me, "Did you forget something?" I was like, "No, I didn't forget anything." And the lady had called my grandmother to say, "Well, I don't think he meant to, but he walked out with that comic book that he did not pay for." So I had to walk all the way back to the store to pay that 35 cents. Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, back then it wasn't like today.
Yeah.
Like there were no cons, okay? There were no comic cons.
Right.
And if you were caught, like in my neighborhood, like reading a comic, you'd kind of be questioned. You're like, what, are you some kind of nerd? Are you a Four Eyes? Like, what's wrong with you, right? Now it's like celebrated. It's like, you know, you can be as nerdy as you want to be nowadays.
Right. Well, now it's popular. Now it's mainstream. I mean, you know, Marvel movies and DC movies are some of the highest grossing movies out. Yeah. So, you know, how can you say you didn't go see the Avengers?
Right.
I mean, you know,
you're a cultural outsider if you're not if you don't know at least the basics.
Right. How do you not know who Iron Man is? And they can tell you more about the origin story than a so-called geek or nerd. Yes. I mean, how many origin Batman stories have there been?
Well, you know, the thing that's funny is that now with the internet, there are all these wiki pages, Wikipedia, like comic wikis.
Oh, that's right.
Like I know people that like have dug in so deep, like in the history of the Flash or Superman or Wonder Woman. They know way more than I did. Right. Like we had to get our knowledge like 35 cents or 50 cents at a time.
Yeah, at a time, right. That's right.
I remember, like, my parents are Jamaican, and one time we were in Jamaica for the summer. Like, it was hard getting comic books, and was able to go to a drugstore, and I got a Fantastic Four, and I think it was like a Superman comic or something like that. Right. And for that whole summer, like, I reread those issues over and over because I couldn't get any more comics. So I didn't know what the heck, and it ended on a cliffhanger, both of them. Right. I don't know what happened next. I didn't find out for like till I got, even when I got back to where I lived, you know, those past issues are gone. Yeah. I mean, there are some storylines that I don't know what happened specifically. I know what happened to the character over time, but like it was years later, like literally like probably a couple of years ago, that I found out what happened at the end of that cliffhanger back in like 1980.
But what's great now also is that a lot of the cartoons that they do now are part of canon. So. You know, kids know way more than we know because they, you know, sometimes they even retell those stories over again in the cartoon. And I remember it from the comics, sorta, but that was some years ago when I read that comic. So
I think it's kind of weird sometimes that the stories that we knew growing up, they're now being retold in movies. Like even old books, old TV shows. Like, I'm like, I know this stuff, but like, it's being reintroduced to a whole new generation.
Right. So different movie studios own different characters, but they want to fill in the characters that you know. You know, it depends on which movie studio did it. Right. Now, I am so glad that they were allowed to do a crossover of Spider-Man, which was great. The Homecoming.
And they're making Marvel Studios is making a big deal. I mean, I think the fact they call it Homecoming.
Oh yeah, that definitely played into it. Like, that definitely played into it.
That he wasn't home when he was at Sony.
Right. But now that so much of that information is available and not through comic books anymore. They're still through comic books, but now it's through movies and TV shows and cartoons, and a lot of that is still canon, right? So, you know, it does take a lot to kind of keep up with all that.
Because I have a whole rant about what's happening today on the comic side of things, not so much the movie side, but now that before it was kind of like the dog wagging the tail, but now with the movies being so popular, it's like the tail wagging the dog. Right. And they've been doing some crazy stuff on the comic side.
You will not hear me bash a movie unless it was really, really, really bad. Because I go to the movie to be entertained. If it entertained me at least a little bit, then I'm okay with it, right? Now, if it went off the deep end, Batman vs Superman, on the character, I liked the movie. I just thought that they wimpified Superman so that, you know, they could actually make a movie out of it.
Well, it's always been the great Superman-Batman debate. It's been going on since.
And I think we've had a couple of those. I remember us having that debate actually. But yeah, you know, we won't have any. I won't bash a movie unless it was really bad.
Hello, everybody. This is Silicon Dark here at MomoCon 2017, and you are hanging with Completely Nerdified, the latest dope channel on YouTube.
Hey everybody, this is Big Haas. and welcome to our YouTube channel, Completely Nerdified. We hope you join us for future episodes. Thanks for watching.